my guest is Dr. Hollis Batista, VP and CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of AB Consulting. Hi, Hollis.
Hi, Denise.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is such a treat and delight.
And we've known each other for so many years. I'm so happy you could be on the show.
Yes, we have. We've known and had a lot of fun.
We have?
Yes, we have.
That's for another show.
We'll talk about that.
So, Dr. Hollis Batista.
Yes.
And it's a PhD. It's not a medical degree. It's a PhD.
No, it is not a medical degree.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about your background?
Yes. Well, my education started as an elementary teacher. And I decided I wanted to broaden all of my experience in education. So I went back to school to get more administrative degrees. And I did all of that at Duquesne University. So I got my administrative degree first to be a principal, and then a curriculum and instruction advisor. And then I went to get my educational doctoral degree, which is very different. It specializes for teachers who really want to go into the classroom and into the community to use their research. So that's how it all began.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Thank you, Denise.
And recently you wrote a book.
Yes, I did.
And it's called Training for Prison, How Our Children Develop Character Traits That Imprison Them for Life. Is this your first book?
Yeah, well, it's really my second book because my first book really was my dissertation, and it is published.
Yes.
But this is my second book on my own, and Training for Prison was brought on from my career. I've been in education for several decades, and I started out in elementary, and the precious little babies were there, but we would often see their discipline referrals starting out little, and then as they got into higher grades, it got more and more pronounced. And unfortunately, some of the children did train for prison and ended up in prison.
So is that what motivated you to write this book?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
How can parents become more involved in their child's life so these things don't happen?
Well, parents are their first teachers. Parents are their first role model and their first leader. And it starts from birth. Matter of fact, my book is divided into two sections. The first section is called It Starts With You, the Parent. And it does. A lot of parents feel, I don't know where these behaviors developed or where they began. And I often tell them, well, you were their teacher 5, 6, maybe even 7 years before they came to school. So you really need to be careful about what they do, their behaviors, and instill in them responsibility, accountability. Teach them to be respectful because they are eventually going to leave your home. And believe me, I've told parents, your children are often the mirror image of you. They watch and hear everything that you do. And sometimes you get those embarrassing moments. I know. As a classroom teacher, some of the children would come to school and share things. And I'd say, oh, okay, thank you. Open house would come and I'd tell the parents, if you don't believe everything they say about me, then I won't believe everything they say about you.
Because they do. They mirror what they see.
Oh, yes, they do. Yes,
Hollis,
they do.
Are there some signs that parents or even teachers need to be aware of?
Yes. And the book isn't just for parents and teachers. It's for anyone that interacts with youth.
Yes.
It could be counselors, church people in your youth groups, but it is written for parents specifically because they are the first person to have an impact on their child. And some of the things that they could look for is how often they get in trouble in nursery school, preschool, and then address it immediately. Now, it doesn't mean that every child that gets in trouble is going to prison, but it's something that you need to be very aware of. And then as they get older, of course, what happens in school? How they treat you at home, the language that they use, what they watch on television. Really, a parent needs to be aware and monitor as much as they can about their precious bundle of joy. Yes.
And all those things are in the book.
Every one of those things are in the book. I have 12 chapters. And the book is written so that if a parent happens to come across a problem that they're having with their child, they can just literally open the book, go to the chapter. They're not real long chapters.
Okay.
Read about it. And then at the end of each chapter, I have sharp points. And those sharp points are little tips on how to effectively address some of those issues.
That's great, Hollis. That's very important. You're also the creator of Table Talk and Speechable Moments. What is that?
Oh, okay. Table Talks and Speechable Moments I created. So the real title is Dr. Hollis's Table Talk and Dr. Hollis's Speechable Moments. Table Talk is simply keeping the lines of communication. The table is a symbol, and that means regardless of whether you're sitting at home eating dinner or breakfast, or if you're out in McDonald's or in the car, I want you to think of talking, keeping the lines of communication open. Because if you don't know what your child is doing, who they're interacting with, what they're thinking, how can you ever address any problems? And the speechable moments are exactly that. For instance, if you're sitting down watching television and you hear something important on the news, that is a speechable and teachable moment to address it with your child. So that's what both of those are about.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Hollis, you've written a book. You're involved in Toastmasters.
Yes.
You and your husband are award-winning winemakers, Batista Wines. How do you have time for all this?
Well, it's called compartmentalizing your life. We love to keep busy, and we do things that we're very, very passionate about. We work together always, as you know, in Toastmasters. You only saw the two of us there.
Right.
And this past year, 2016, 2017, I was the district director. I was your district director.
You were, yes.
And we did a lot of events. And my father passed away in 2011. And to honor him, we decided to start our own wine business because my father's family did that. And so that's how the Batista's wine began. And we only did it to compete in the USA. We're not doing it to sell. And we do. We win silver, bronze, double gold, triple gold medals, and we enjoy it.
That's great.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to add, Hollis, for the audience?
Oh, sure. I would like for you to go to my website, which is trainingforprison.com, and download the free companion guide that you can use. And all the sharp points are there, and all the chapters in my book are there. And if you do that, you'll have a tool instantly to help you if you have any problems with your children.
Thank you so much for being here, Hollis.
Well,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this.